Hello YouTube. In this short little video I want to talk about body fat percentage and really how lean you should get. And this is actually a very difficult conversation to have because ultimately it's kind of impossible to get 100% accuracy on your body fat. You know, I've done the tests. I've done a hydrostatic underwater weighing, I've done a bod pod, I've done a DEXA scan, and none of these machines are inherently 100% accurate. In fact, I scored 4.5% body fat on a bod pod 2 years ago, and there was no way I was 4.5% body fat. Even my recent DEXA scans, you know, my latest one I got 6.2, and you know what? Like, I am really lean, and especially when I did that test, I was very lean, but I was probably more around 7 or 8%. So people get so attached to this idea of you know, getting to a certain body fat percentage, but you can't even be that accurate. In fact, I'd say the best way to predict body fat is actually just to have someone that really knows fitness and physique and aesthetics very well and have them pretty much give you an estimate. That's probably the most accurate way to do it, while also taking some of the tests into account. The cool thing with the DEXA scan is that you can track your progress because it's consistent test to test, even if it is 1 or 2% off. So there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I want to get to 6% body fat or 8% body fat. But you know what? There's no possible way to know. And I think some people get more attached to a number than really what they see in the mirror. They just like the idea of 8% body fat. They like the idea of 6% body fat. But really, ultimately what you should be thinking about is get to a point that you're happy with. Get to a point you're absolutely content with. That's far more important than some arbitrary number. In fact, right now, I could do a DEXA scan. It could tell me I'm 12% body fat. Am I gonna freak out and be like, no, I have to lose weight? Like, hell no. It doesn't matter with the numbers we get. It matters what we're actually striving for. So people get so attached to a number. And also, it's important to understand that certain people are gonna look different at 8% body fat or 10% body fat. For me, if I get to 10% or 12% body fat, that might look awesome on one person, but for me, my face gets very rounded, my waist starts to get a bit bulkier, and so I don't like my look. I like the kind of the slim waist and the chiseled jawline, but someone actually might look awesome at 10 or 12% body fat. A good example is Daniel Craig. He looks very cool at 10 or 12% body fat. For me, I look better around, you know, 7, 8, 9% max. That's where I look best. It's also important to understand how long you've been training for. Someone that hasn't trained very long, doesn't have that much muscle, should not worry about getting to 7, 8% body fat because they don't have the muscle. When they get there, they're gonna look too skinny and it's just not gonna look good. They'll be better off staying around 10, 12% and focusing on gaining muscle. So it depends on how long you've been training for, it depends on the way your body distributes body fat and all that. So I would say really forget about body fat percentages altogether and get to a point that you're actually happy with. Get to a point where you look good. And it doesn't even mean you have to be crazy lean. In fact, I put on a little bit of fat over the last couple months. I'm about 175 today, so I put on some muscle and fat, but I kind of like my physique right now. You know, when I go to a bar, I get a lot more attention. I'm bigger, I'm fuller, and I just like having a bit more of that imposing size. Not that I'm huge by any means, but compared to most people, you know, I stand out a lot. You know, I like having that kind of that size and that dominance. There was a time that I liked being a lot leaner. It was better for photo shoots. You know, you have like a much more chiseled face. You can wear, you know, more button downs and jackets. Now I have a hard time fitting into. I want to wear this blazer tonight and I couldn't even fit into it. It looked kind of ridiculous. So just kind of remember that it's important to really go after what you want and not get attached to a number, and really to understand that if you do want to get to a low body fat, it's going to be a long road. It's going to be a long road because you're going to have enough muscle to look good at 7, 8% body fat. You know, look at someone like Brad Pitt in Fight Club. You know, he looked good with his shirt off, but he was very skinny. You know, that probably wouldn't appeal to most people. So if most people that, you know, have worked out a little bit want to get to like 6% body fat, they're going to look very skinny, and probably most of their friends or people around them will just tell them, you know, gain some weight. Same thing with Cam Gigande and never back down. But then look at someone like Brad Pitt when he bulked up for Troy and he still stayed lean. Like, that was like a much, in my opinion, that's like a much kind of better look to have. It's healthier. You got some more muscle. You know, you look good in clothes. You don't just look like you're sick and can't eat that much. So these are definitely my thoughts on the matter. And one really good tip that I would give you is, if you are someone that's got a good amount of size and you are trying to get down to that low body fat, a lot of times it's not going to happen in one shot. You know, you don't just want to try and get to 8% body fat in one shot. You know, you can get down to like 12%, you know, 12%. From there, you actually want to hover around 11-12%. Stay there for, you know, 2, 3, 4 weeks even, then cut another, you know, 2 or 3 pounds of fat, 2 to 4 pounds of fat. So then you might go down to 9 or 10%. Stay there for a few weeks, a month, you know, get stronger, maintain that body fat, like, you know, get it locked in. Then go on another, you know, 3, 4 week cutting, you know, get down to, you know, 7, 8% body fat. Then stay there for 3, 4 weeks. And then if you really want to get leaner, you don't really need to go below 7, 8%. And again, I'm using these numbers, and probably we don't know exactly what 7, 8% is, but you know, you have an idea if you look at pictures, and then cut down a little bit further, and then bam. If you ever want to get ready for like a super, like, we got to be super lean for a photo shoot. That strategy is really the only effective way if you want to stay lean long term and not affect your testosterone levels. You don't go down to 6% body fat in one shot. You get down to 11, 12. You cut for a few weeks, you maintain for a few weeks, you cut for a few weeks, you maintain for a few weeks, and you slowly bring yourself down to whatever it is, 7% body fat. And then from there, you give yourself some room, about 5 pound variance, where you let your body weight fluctuate around 5 pounds. So maybe for me, if I'm 7% body fat, I'm about 168, 169. Then I let myself stay around, you know, 167 to 172. And I play around there. When I start to go over 172, I start to cut down a bit. I usually will not start to get under 167 because, you know, losing weight is hard for me. It doesn't happen automatically. And that strategy is really, really good for a long-term leanness. But you got to give yourself some room to work with if you want to put on some size. So that's great if you want to sort of maintain your body fat and slowly put on muscle. But, you know, if you're 7% body fat and you really want to pack on size, you might have to give yourself more room to work with. You might have to give yourself, you know, 5 to 10 pounds to slowly build up to, and then cut back down and hopefully be a little bit leaner. Hopefully this has give you some really, really good information on body fat. You know, I've gotten criticized because I show people, hey, you know what? You can get down to 7% body fat, 8% body fat and maintain it and enjoy it. And some people don't want to hear that message because they haven't been able to get lean. They've never been able to get lean and maintain it. So they think that I'm promoting something that's unsustainable. And I get that because for a long time, I could never get below 10% body fat for more than a day. And I struggled with it. That's how I evolved and created, you know, my courses, which help people get really lean and build muscle and do it in a sustainable way. So I get that a lot of people are like, oh, you know, you shouldn't tell people that they can go below 10% body fat and be able to do it. But no, really you can. It's a long process. It took me, you know, a few years to really allow myself to effortlessly stay lean. So you have to understand it takes time, but you definitely can do it. But some of you might not ever care to get to 7, 8% body fat, you know? For me, because I do videos, because I do Instagram posts, and I have to, you know, look good to support my brand, it kind of helps for me to be at 7, 8% body fat. But, you know, for you guys, you might not care. And also on another note, like in some ways, it might even help my brand if I let myself go up to 10% body fat, because then I might be more relatable to some people. But really for pictures, for Instagram thumbnails, you know, content, it's just being leaner really helps. And frankly, I like being chiseled, having like the nice jawline and like kind of looking, having that tight waist. Right now, I want to lose about 2 pounds just for my own personal interests. Like I'd like to be a little bit tighter. See how my stomach kind of comes out a bit? I want to get a little bit tighter, but still have that size. So hopefully this has given you some good perspective. Remember not to get attached to any number. Remember to take these body fat tests with a grain of salt. You know, some people, they are like, I love my leanness. Then they do a body fat test and they find out they're 14%. And they're like, shit, I got to get leaner. It's like, dude, do not worry about some number. What matters is the look you're going for, and have you achieved that? Do you feel good? And then the second token is some people, me, with my diet strategies, I can maintain good testosterone levels and stay satisfied at 7% body fat. You know, it takes some discipline, but I can do it. But some people, that number might not work for them. It might be 10% body fat or 11%. So you got to use your own genetics, you know, and take your own genetics into account. All right, this video was a little bit blah, 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 but hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. That really helps me grow this channel. Make sure, if you have not already, subscribe for more awesome videos each week. And share your comments on the subject and share your comments on what you want to see. Now, if you've not started one of my amazing programs yet, go to kinojourney.com or kinobody.com/tool and use my physique builder tool to find out where your physique is and which of my programs is going to be the most helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching. Talk soon. Bye.
Oh, these feel way better.